Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. I'm Dr. T, PhD, the prodigy of sports psychology, here to welcome a very new guest for the very first time on GoTarryn TV today. And before I tell you who she is, I'd like to ask everyone out there, if you please be so kind as to like this video, leave us a comment, and share it with all of your friends and family out there. Now momentarily, as I mentioned, we're going to be welcoming for the very first time, all the way up in Canada, I believe somewhere in Vancouver, Ms. Jakki Woywitka. So that's right, Jakki Woywitka is going to be joining us here on GoTarryn TV. She is a heart health coach, and I'm really interested in hearing more of her story as she comes to us referred by a mutual friend, Natalie Joel. And her story is amazing, it's incredible, and I can't wait to ask her all about it because it sounds like quite the journey. And I love stories like these that are inspirational, and it's truly going to be inspiring hearing this from a first-hand account from Jakki. So I'm looking forward to meeting her here for the very first time on GoTarryn TV in just a few moments. And remember, with GoTarryn Health and Fitness, it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. We will be right back. Okay, welcome back everyone. As I promised, all the way up in Canada for the very first time today, we're welcoming a new guest by the name of Ms. Jakki Woywitka. Jakki, how are you doing out there today?
Really well, thank you. How are you doing, Taryn?
Good, thank you, and thanks so much for having the opportunity to come here and say hello today. And just first of all, Jakki, where in Canada exactly are you, please?
I'm on Vancouver Island.
Very cool. Yeah, very, very nice. I've
Yeah.
heard such beautiful things. I heard it's so pleasant and nice out there. And welcome. And you were welcomed to us and introduced by a mutual friend, Natalie Joel, who's in South Africa, of course. And she told me a little bit about your story, and I'm so happy she put us together to connect. So if Natalie's watching, thank you very much, Natalie. And Jakki, just before we get going and talking about your story, because it's quite amazing, it's incredible, in fact, and I want to ask you about that, but can you just kind of maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are from and how you ended up in Vancouver and just what's the story behind, kind of where you're at now, please?
Sure. So I was born and raised here on Vancouver Island, and then I left at a very early age, and I've lived all over the world
Nice.
until, yeah, thank you, until a couple years ago when I got sick, when I just happened to be home on a trip. And then by the time I was well enough to go again, COVID happened.
Oh, wow.
So I'm still here, yeah.
That's amazing. How is the pandemic been there, in the last year and a half or so? Has it been manageable and, something to deal
It
with?
has.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
Good.
okay.
Oh, okay, that's great. Good. So you mentioned growing up and being born and raised there. Where else did you move to in terms of all over the world? Like, where does that include some of your favorite places?
Sure. So I've lived in Finland, Turkey, Austria, Mexico, Australia, Vietnam, China,
Wow.
and Kuwait.
Oh my God, that is literally all across the world. That's amazing. Wow. So never in the United States then, it sounds like.
No, but my sister lives in LA, so
Nice. I assume you've been there to visit her?
I have been a couple times, yeah.
Very cool. Wow. So that's a lot of places, many continents, in fact, you just announced there. So out of those places, what would you say would be your favorite?
Oh, that is such a hard question. I like everything for different reasons.
Sure. Fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. How did you end up going back home to Vancouver then? I assume your family's there?
My family's still here, yes.
That makes sense. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Now, the story that Nat shared with us, and again, it's just privately with me. She told me you got to get Jakki on because it's just incredible. I know that you're a heart health coach, and we'll get to that too. I wanted to ask you about that. But can you kind of maybe take us through the backstory and, exactly touching on some of the key points and some of the, again, because the story is phenomenal. I wanted to definitely ask you about that and just kind of take us through exactly, the background, what happened, and how you ended up succeeding and overcoming everything.
Sure. So about I guess 2.5 years ago, I came home for New Year's, and I had just been tromping around Patagonia and Antarctica.
Wow.
And I just started to become really sick. I put on 80 pounds in 2 weeks.
Mm.
I'm only 4'10" or 150 centimeters, so that's almost double my weight in 2 weeks. I couldn't breathe. I was exhausted. I went from mountaineering to like having to take a nap on the bathroom floor because I was too tired to walk back to bed.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
You know, and I went to doctors, ERs, like everybody, walk-in clinics and stuff. And every single time I was told, you're too fat, lose weight, and you'll feel better. And it wasn't until one of the girls that I was on a trip in Antarctica with is actually a pulmonologist, a lung doctor.
Oh,
and
wow.
It just got to the point where I was just like, okay, it has to be with the chest because you can't breathe.
Yeah.
The only person I know personally who knows anything about that is her. So I texted her my symptoms and a picture of myself then, because she had just seen me a few months before, and was, like, don't give me diagnostic anything because that's completely unethical, but, give me something to fight for. Like, I need a direction to fight for here because they're just not listening. So she got back within minutes and said, I think you need to have your heart looked at right now. Like, run, don't stop.
Wow.
And collect $200. So it took me another 2 weeks to find a doctor who would listen and was willing to book an echo. And even then it was like, oh, I don't think it's too bad.
Wow.
It's whatever. And then it was another 4 weeks after that, after I actually had the echo. And it showed that my heart was functioning at 15%.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, for those medical professions out there, that's ejection fraction. But, yeah, for everybody else, it's 15% functioning. And that my, like, a left ventricle is like around 70 grams for my size, and it was at 119 grams. So it was like...
Wow.
And yeah, and so then I was admitted, started on the usual course of treatment, kind of standard, and I had horrific reactions to them. So I had like skin falling off my stomach.
Oh, wow.
And I was up all night screaming because I thought Dias de los Muertos were sawing off my limbs.
Oh
really
God.
Bad hallucinations, and I was puking. And yeah, and like, and you could see like my really strong muscles just going meow, going away, and everything. And so, and like about 50% of people in my area, I don't have a family doctor because we don't have enough here. So they were trying to find one for me in the hospital, and they had two possibilities. So I left. I was discharged at hospital without a pharmaceutical list. I was discharged without a family doctor, and I was discharged without a single cardiologist looking at my file.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
And I was told that the heart function clinic would be in touch within a week. It was almost 3 months before they called.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I have worked in health and wellness all my life. So I have, connections all over the world.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to do what I feel is right for me, because I've had really bad reactions to drugs all my life. This isn't a new thing. And so, I started, putting my contacts to work. I joined natural heart healing groups. I, started talking with people. And, I don't know much, but what I do know is, like, if you want to learn something, you find the people who've done it and find out what they've done. So, I found people who've been treating congestive heart failure for, like, I found somebody who's treating it naturally for like 65 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
And yeah, and I just started talking to people and calling centers and finding out the information. And I live in a place that's I guess you would call it hippie. Hippie place on our island. There are, a lot of natural healers and things in our area. So
Sure.
I had lots of resources there to go to, like Ayurvedic practitioners and
nice.
all that, and kind of gather information and what their thoughts were. But it wasn't until I started working with a heart healing counselor that things started to really change for me. And so she's a counselor who believes that the emotional and physical heart are completely intertwined. And so if one's broken, the other will shortly follow.
Sure.
And so we started looking back through my life and having aha moments. Oh, well, hey, maybe this could have led to this. Maybe this is a possibility. Maybe this is an avenue you need to explore. So we were able to come up with a bunch of root causes and do it that way.
Wow.
Yeah. And so by the time the heart function clinic actually had me down after 3 months to look at me, I'd already gathered all this information. I really hadn't acted on it too much yet, but I had the information, and my new echo has showed that while my heart function had improved to 45 from 15,
wow,
my heart had actually increased in 40 grams.
Oh, wow.
Again. So it was making my heart worse. And I was so sick with the side effects. So then something came to my attention, which was a pharmacogenetics test, which tests your liver's ability to react to drugs.
Okay.
Okay, so it tests if you're a normal processor of a drug, you'll get no side effects or like super minimal. Okay. And then you can be a fast processor, which means that your body literally gobbles it up. And then it's not there anymore. So, and then you can be a slow processor, which means that it just accumulates in your bloodstream because your liver can't process it. And that's when you get really bad side effects, is when it's a slow processor. So it showed that every single drug that I was on, I was allergic to. Like, my liver couldn't process it. I was a slow processor. And
wow.
It also showed that a lot of the things that I was on as a kid, I also have a genetic disorder called Turner syndrome, which is a whole nother thing in itself. But I was on a lot of stuff when I was younger, and I had such bad reactions that I stopped all pharmaceuticals a long time ago for it. And so it answered a lot of questions. And so then I decided to stop doing which I didn't feel was working for me and focus on other possibilities. And so I did. And 6 months later, I had another echocardiogram. So 6 months on natural treatments, and my heart was down to 90 grams from 153 grams. So it had shrunk really close back to its original size.
Wow.
My aortic root, because I also have a bicuspid aortic valve, which is like the one root cause which I can't do anything about myself. The aortic root had shrunk a whole centimeter on its own.
Huh. Wow.
And yeah, and the regurgitation had gone from severe to mild.
Oh, thank goodness. Wow.
So yeah, so that's kind of my story. And now it's been a year and a half that I've been med-free and just loving life as much as I can without traveling.
Good for you, Jakki. So, wow, I have so many things I'm thinking of in that. First question for you, Jakki. Then I assume this was just something running through your family genetically, that you've had others that have gone through this as well too. Your parents or anybody?
So I have one aunt who's in heart failure, but in
Okay.
British Columbia, they won't do genetic testing until you have three family members.
Oh, really? Wow.
Universal health care. Yeah, the beauty of it.
Oh. Oh gosh.
So,
Wow.
so can't test it. But as I said, I have Turner syndrome, and this is
Mhm.
one of the things that I guess really gets me at the core,
Mhm.
is that 30% of us have congenital heart defects, such as
Mm.
a bicuspid aortic valve, which for our listeners, instead of having three leaves to open the heart valve, I only have two.
Mm. Mm. Mhm.
Um, so that means that your heart has to work harder.
Mhm.
So, with knowing that, like when I was diagnosed at about 11 or 12, I can't remember,
Mhm.
preteenish,
Yeah.
that's one of the first things I should have had done,
Ah.
right?
Mhm.
Was an echocardiogram. But I was 36 before I had my first echocardiogram,
Mm. Mm. Wow.
so that begs a whole nother question. But yeah,
Wow. And that's amazing too, that you've been a testament of how natural healing works more so than, any kind of medicines. And just so, what can you take us through kind of some of what does the naturopathic look like for you? What are some examples of some of the ways that, you're living naturally versus relying on any kind of medications, for example?
sure. So one of the things is that I actually eat a high fat, high salt diet.
Mm-hmm.
So completely opposite kind
Mm-hmm.
of keto diet,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, that you would expect,
Mm-hmm.
because sugar causes inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is surprising for most people, that before the 1950s, heart disease was called the third type of diabetes.
Hmm. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, um, so I don't know, it's one of my beliefs that, you know, um, heart patients should experiment with a low carb type diet,
Mm-hmm.
to see if that helps, you
Yeah.
know, just
Mm-hmm.
because of that. So I also I figured out mathematically what my sweet spot is for my heart rate. So everybody
Oh,
has a
okay.
sweet spot of a heart rate where their heart gains the most muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And so, through my research, I was able to find formulas from various sources and put them together. So then I exercised at that heart rate. And
Ah,
that's, yeah. And then there are kind of four stages of healing.
okay.
And so your sweet spot changes depending on which stage of healing you're at.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I applied those numbers, and it's kind of exciting because I've tried it with a whole bunch of people,
Huh.
who have said like, hey, I'm going for a cardiac stress test. I'm like, hey, can I give you your numbers and you can tell me how close I am? And I'm never off more than one heartbeat
Wow.
than what
Gosh.
a stress test will tell them. Yeah, they're
Wow.
really, it's phenomenal numbers. So that's kind of that way. I this is a process thing, but I have a lot of trauma in my past. And this is something that a lot of doctors in Canada don't recognize, is Takotsubo's, which is, in its, layman's terms, is broken heart syndrome, where
Hmm.
your heart is just so sad it literally just decides to stop working.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a lot of time working on my past and my healing. I spend a lot of time analyzing the things around me and putting the whole thing of, if it won't matter in 5 years, it's not worth stressing about,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
into practice and kind of healing myself that way. Yeah, so one of the things, like just before I was symptomatic, was when I was in Buenos Aires, when I was down in Antarctica and Patagonia, was that I was mugged on the street by three guys.
Oh, wow. Mm.
And then shortly after, symptoms started.
Mm.
So I truly believe that trauma had a whole part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So working on my mindset and everything that way. Yeah, those are kind of my three big things, but I spend a lot of time out in nature, barefoot. I like to ice bathe, if you've ever heard of Wim Hof.
No, what is that? I have not heard of that, Jakki.
Okay, so Wim Hof is a Flemish guy who holds the world records in like the longest ice bath, I
Huh.
think, and
Oh,
also
wow.
holding his breath the longest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he talks about like cold water bathing, how it reduces inflammation in the body.
Wow.
Yeah, but then I also do the opposite, and I use saunas and hot tubs as well for
Kind of
the
to shock the
raise
system.
the
Yeah, like really
yeah,
heated.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, this is something too, is that for a lot of females, I didn't know if you know this, but 90% of SCAD, which is sudden cardiac arrests, are female.
I didn't know that. No.
90% are female.
That's
And
interesting.
it is super interesting. And one of the reasons why I feel that this is so is because females are really prone to microvascular disease. Which for our listeners out there, that's when your vessels are super duper tiny. Right? So you can imagine that, they get blocked easier, they constrict and have reactions easier. So that's why we can be more prone to that. Now, what makes those vessels dilate or get bigger are hot environments.
Okay.
Right? So, and that also lowers the your blood pressure after, which is why you see warnings at the hot tub and saunas at the pool.
Ah, yeah.
Right?
Wow.
It's for their liability reasons, because if you're on medications or anything that lower your blood pressure, right? Like you have an increased chance of passing out from low blood pressure.
Yeah, certainly. Wow. And back to the eating too and the diet, is that how you and Natalie met then, I assume, Jakki?
Oh, no, we actually have a mutual friend.
Oh, okay, neat.
Yeah, and she's a health coach, and she runs a magazine and coaching business called Influencer.
Neat.
Yeah, so we both met through her.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And how about the concept of heart health coaching? Because that's something that I don't know if that's as prevalent here in the United States, but that's something I'm unfamiliar with. Can you kind of go into that and tell us a little bit about how that works with the healing part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of the same here. It doesn't really exist, but there are a couple out there if you go online and look for it.
Neat.
So for me, I use my 5 pillars of healing a heart. And my whole object as a coach, I often get the question, oh, are you a doctor or a nurse?
Oh,
no.
okay. Because they're thinking about the physical. Right. Yeah, they're not thinking of the emotional.
Healing. The emotional healing. I say, no, I'm a sports coach. That's my training. I've been a sports coach since I taught my first class when I was 10. So I'm a sport coach, but for your heart. So I'm going to whip you in the butt when you need a kick in the butt, and I'm here for a shoulder to cry on and tell your woes when you need that too. So I have my 5 pillars that I work with you through. So the first one is nutrition.
Okay.
All right. So we go over what you're doing through nutrition. I also like to look at your tests that you've had to see if there's kind of any indication that I can get if there's something that I feel could be brought into your nutrition wise. And I also like my clients to ask their medical professionals to get a full nutritional panel. Because 91% of heart patients are severely deficient in several minerals and vitamins. So I like to see if they can get that. Yeah. And then we kind of work through an AIP to figure out if there's any foods that they're sensitive to.
Okay.
And then taking those informations, we build a diet around food sensitivities and lack of nutrients or vitamins
Oh, okay.
directly. So it's really individual because we're not the same. We're not cookie cutters.
Right.
You know, like I've heard of people who have to have like 8 grams of sodium a day or they have palpitations. You know? Yeah. And as I said, my goal isn't to heal you because I'm not a medical practitioner in that way. My goal is to help you live your best life, however that looks like, and to be a coach for you through that. And then, so we do that. And then we go into the exercise part where I run your numbers through my calculator. And then I show you how to tailor your exercise to those numbers so that, you know, you can get the most out of every workout and that you can work out at a level that is safe for your, you know, point of recovery and your fitness level. You know, as an athlete, my fitness level of starting at is going to be different than somebody who doesn't work out at all. Right? So again, tailoring that to each person. And then we go into the mindset. So I'm a heart math coach. So I teach you how to use your mind and breathing to kind of slow your breath down. Eventually you'll get to the point where you can slow your heart rate down. And as well when you do that. And then I'm also a trauma-informed yoga teacher. So I teach yoga for those who have trauma in their lives. So instead of doing talk therapy and going blah, 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 we do yoga and I hold your space and put you in positions to help you release emotions that you have and things like that. So we try to work through that. And then the fourth thing on my pillar is life coaching. You know, being diagnosed with a chronic illness is life-changing. You know, people are going like, I don't want to tell my boss because then maybe I'll get fired. You know, how do I tell my kids? You know, all of that stuff. And, you know, and it's a whole lifestyle change. And there's a lot of fears. You know, it's not uncommon for me to hear like, I just got home from the hospital. Can I go to the bathroom? Yes, please. Even if it's just going to the toilet, please get off your bed, get off the couch, and walk. Just it's okay. You're gonna be fine. You know, and trying to set up things that to kind of mitigate risks. One of the hardest things a lot of heart patients have when they first start on medications is showering, for instance. Showering, especially at the high heat, because it's basically fighting the medicines that you're on, right? Because your medicines are trying to slow down and the heat's going to speed everything up. So you get exhausted you can get exhausted really quickly. So trying to come up with solutions for that, like how do I live my best life with this? Right? Helping you build your support network. I have done a few workshops for family and friends where they say like, I'm too scared to tell anybody. Would you come on Zoom with me? And I'll bring everybody and together you can help me answer their questions.
That's cool.
You know, that's cool.
That's
so
a great concept.
It is. So, you know, so I do stuff like that. And then the last pillar I have is that we kind of analyze your life and like what's done for me and kind of say, okay, what can we pick out that maybe we should look at, or maybe you should get your doctors to look at? What ideas can we come up with?
Wow. So you really, those 5 pillars encompass a total package, holistic, it sounds like, view of everything, you know, just to kind of target their entire wellness. So I commend you for that, Jakki. That is amazing. Yeah. And that's just incredible that whole lifestyle developed. The chances that you were on that trip to Antarctica with that pulmonologist, I just can't believe it. Sounds like it was almost like fate, you know? It really is amazing. Yeah. Wow. I mean, talk about perfect timing. Wow. Well, that's awesome, Jakki. And again, I'm so
Thank you.
happy. Yeah, I mean, that sounds great that you're able to help others the way that you're doing. And I'm a firm believer. What you said earlier, I couldn't agree more when you mentioned that something to the effect of the best coaches are the ones who've been through this. Or the people
Mm-hmm.
who can deal with this. I should say the most are the ones who know about what this is firsthand. Just like, for example, our friend Natalie with her weight loss
Mm-hmm.
transformation and what she went through and now what she's doing. But the same with you too, and I commend you for doing this. And this is so wonderful, Jakki. And I feel like we've just scratched the surface to get to know you here
Mm-hmm.
today. And I can't tell you how much we're appreciative of hearing this story firsthand from you. But before we let you go, just a couple more questions for you, please. Let's do this
Sure.
again, please. When you get an
Yes.
opportunity, let's definitely follow up and touch base because there's so much more I need to ask you about this. But with people listening right now, if they have the opportunity to want to learn more about you or possibly learn how to get your services as their health coach, what are the best ways for them to learn more about you, please? Let's go ahead and provide that.
Awesome. Yeah. So one of the best ways to learn about me is to follow me on social media. So I am on Facebook and Instagram at Healthy Heart Coach Jakki. And my website is www.healthyheartcoachjakki.org.
Okay, great. Well, we'll have
Yeah.
that on the screen. I'll make sure that the people watching, we can freeze it, and we'll be able to take that down as we fade to black here. But thank you so much again, Jakki. This is such a pleasure. And again, I'm so appreciative that Natalie put us in touch with each other. And if you're available next month, would love to have you back on in October. And let's definitely do another one of these because, again, I think we definitely need to delve more into this. And I'd like to talk to you more about the whole psychology of that emotional healing. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
that I think we could fill up half an hour pretty quickly like we did today. But
Absolutely.
let's do that. Yeah. Well, Jakki, again, I promised to let you go on time, and I see that it's about 11:30 where you're at, so I'll let you get going.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 hours ahead of you. So I hope you have a great rest of your day as it gets started up here. And again,
Thank you.
reach out to you, and let's definitely do this next month, please.
Absolutely, Taryn. It was so much fun talking with you. And guys, just remember, love yourself, listen to yourself. Your body knows what it wants.
Excellent. Very well said, Jakki. And with that, here comes your contact information as we fade to black.